you been with the team here at West Forsyth?
I was assistant coach for 2 years, and I've been the head coach for 4 years, so a total of 6 years.
Okay, and would you consider yourself a disciplinarian? Do you have punishments?
To some degree, yeah. I think part of the issue with coaching is you want to teach lessons. So if, let's say, the girls are being lazy or they're throwing garbage on the ground, they eat a lot of snacks or throwing garbage on the ground, I'll sprint them, to get the point across. But for the most part, we're trying to be positive reinforcers, but we'll do some discipline. Nothing more than sprints and some conditioning, though.
And as far as practices go, how important is skill work? And do you implement this aspect in your practices?
Yeah, fundamentals are everything. And I think that a lot of coaches might think that fundamentals start at the beginning of the year and then you get into a lot of gameplay and you stick with the gameplay. But here we do fundamentals. As a matter of fact, we've got 2 weeks left in the season and I've got 3 games this week and we're going to do fundamentals tonight. We'll focus on fundamentals. So skill work's really important for us.
And will you scrimmage today as well, or just
No, our field here doesn't really give us the opportunity to scrimmage. And when you have 3 games in 3 days, you don't really have to scrimmage. I think working the fundamentals and then letting them get the skill, the gameplay in the games is good.
And what are your feelings about sportsmanship? Do you have meetings with your team about sportsmanship?
Yeah, sportsmanship is one of those things I think that kids can learn in sports that they're not going to learn from family or from friends. So the lessons here, there's hardly a girl that's going to make any money playing field hockey. So you want to make sure that when they walk off the field that they get those lessons that they can carry forward in life. And I think sportsmanship is definitely one of those lessons.
Also, do you address sportsmanship with the parents of your players?
Yeah, it starts there. It absolutely starts there. So we sit down with our parents early. We have parent meetings earlier in the year, and I actually let them know, and I communicate very well what our expectations are of them, both on and off the field, and what kind of impact they have on the girls. Because if I see somebody on the field who's being unsportsman, it starts at home. That's kind of where we go with it.
How do you deal with referees?
Hey, the refs are always right. Okay, we in field hockey is a little bit different. In basketball, it's kind of nice because you're allowed to work the ref. You can work them, but in field hockey you can't. And it's a no touch, no mouth rule. If you get mouthy with them, they're going to card you and they'll tell you to leave the field. So they are, and what they say is.
Do you divide up playing time in games?
To some degree, yeah. I believe in the philosophy that girls have to work to gain those positions. And in some of the easier games, we will definitely get some of the younger girls and less experienced girls in the game to give them that experience and allow that growth to happen. But in the really important games, our better players are going to be the ones who are playing. But I believe that the other girls are the future of the team, and you've got to have them give them the opportunities for growth too. So we divide it up to some degree.
So in practices, would you play to the level of the better players or the ones that still need improvement?
That's one of the challenges. We have about 30 girls, and I'm lucky to have 2 assistant coaches. So we have the opportunity to split up by skill set. So we can teach the less skilled girls some of the more fundamentals that they need to do some of the higher skills, and then our higher skilled girls don't get necessarily dragged down by the lower skilled girls. So there's a lot of teams that only have one coach and they don't have that luxury. We're pretty lucky.
So you mentioned that you have assistants. What are their roles in games?
They definitely keep me on track. So, there's 11 girls on the field for one team. So they help me keep track of the girls. Is somebody getting tired? Is somebody not? They may see things on the field that I don't necessarily see. So everything kind of goes through me. I'll call the timeouts. I'll do the subs and that type of thing. But they are truly assisting me and trying to identify the issues on the field.
And how do you deal with the complaints from parents about playtime or practices or whatever they may be?
That's a really good question. I've learned over the years that it's important to give the parents a venue to vent, but basically my philosophy is, you can tell me about issues, you can tell me about concerns, but I really want to deal with it with the athlete themselves. So I will just ask them to have their daughter come meet with me specifically. And we'll talk it over with them, and then they can get back to the parents. But I deal with it all the time. It's something that a coach has to deal with.
Do you mostly deal with parents through telephone, email, or how do they contact you?
That's another good question. I communicate. I try to communicate well with my parents. So I do a ton of emails. In this day and age, you got to use Facebook. The school administration doesn't necessarily like it, but we have some group pages that really do us well in communication. If a game changes or if schedule changes and that type of thing, we can use some of the technology that's out there today to do that. So phone call is the absolute last resort for us.
And do you make up your game schedule? What is your philosophy in regards to scheduling?
Well, that's it's grown over the years, that's for sure. I think it depends on the talent of your team at the time. Right now, our schedule is one of the toughest that we've ever had. I had a weak schedule last year, and I think by the time it came to the state championship, that might have hurt us a little bit. So this year we put together a really, really tough schedule, and I do that myself. I think it's one of the tougher things that I have to do is to get a schedule, a 19, 20 game schedule on the books on a field that I have to share with other teams, other school teams as well. It's kind of tough.
Do you have fundraising projects, and if so, what types?
Absolutely, fundraising is a big deal today. So we do car washes, candy sales, T-shirt sales, and that type of thing. We do get some money from the school. We used to be just primarily a club sport, and we were kind of on our own, but we have since been brought into the school system. So the demands on our funds are a little bit less than they used to be, but we still have to fundraise.
And how important are academics in relation to what you want to achieve with your team?
I have a higher priority list. Families first, school second, field hockey's third. So if somebody's not making the grade, hockey's just first of all, high school's not that tough. So if somebody's struggling in school, they don't need to be playing field hockey. I think there's a lot of things that we can do to help girls, but academics is absolutely number one.
And lastly, what would your advice be to any other coach?
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, but I think to relax and have fun and try to live in the moment. Being around teenage girls has its challenges, but they bring so much energy and so much life that it's just a ton of fun to be around them. And helping them grow as individuals and teaching them how to work as a team is fun to watch. And it's always fun to see an older player that you had on the field come back and maybe interview you or something. And to know that you had some kind of impact on their life is absolutely fantastic. So just appreciate that. It's not all about wins and losses. There's a lot more into it than that. So.
All right, well, great. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.